Hello and welcome to the Refugee Welcome Collective Lunch and Learn series. In these sessions, we aim to bring interesting and timely information to you, supporters of refugees. Whether you are a volunteer, community sponsor, resettlement agency staff, a local advocate, or just someone who is interested in learning more, we hope that you enjoy today's session, The Refuge Coffee Company Story. Here at Refugee Welcome Collective, we collaborate with partners to provide in-depth training programs, weekly learning sessions, resources, and on-demand technical assistance for sponsors, practitioners at resettlement agencies, refugees paired with sponsors, community and institutional partners, and others to support quality community sponsorship programs across the state. Next slide. As a reminder for everyone joining the Lunch and Learn today, there is a control panel in the upper right-hand corner of your screen that will allow you to submit questions through the questions box. There will be ample time at the end of the webinar for Q&A. Everyone on today's webinar is automatically muted. However, if you have any tech issues, please raise your hand through the control panel or submit a question in the questions box so we can assist you. Additionally, the presentation and a recording will be sent to everyone following today's webinar. This brings us to our presenters for today. Our presenters are Leon. Leon is the Customer Experience Coordinator at Refuge Coffee Company of Atlanta, Georgia, and Steph. Steph is the Community Engagement and Partnership Coordinator at Refuge Coffee Company. So Steph and Leon, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. It is so exciting to be with you guys today. I will just give a second for the presentation. There we go. Well, hi, we are Refuge Coffee, and we are so excited to be with you guys today. We can go on and start so we can go to the next slide. Going to the next slide. Okay, so the first thing to know is that we are a coffee shop. The second thing to know is we are more than good coffee. So we started in 2015 as a spot on a parking lot, opening twice a week. And from that, we have grown to be a multiple location, flourishing nonprofit coffee shop. So we're going to tell you a little bit about our story and what we do. So we can go to the next slide. So we're going to go over our vision and mission, our values and our promise, our job training program, and then I'm going to let Leon share a little bit about his story and what he does with Refuge. Next slide. So our vision and mission. Our vision is worldwide welcome, which is a big vision. But we really do believe in the power of welcome. We believe that it doesn't matter where you come from, that everybody is welcome. And we dream of communities where our new neighbors are embraced and given opportunities to thrive through the business of hospitality through coffee. We really love just having so many people from so many different communities represented in our coffee shop. So our mission statement is that we are a nonprofit, we are 501c3 nonprofit job training program that uses a delicious cup of coffee as a platform for job training and personal development for newly arrived refugees and other immigrants. What makes Refuge so special is our job training program, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But something that's really important to know is about where we're located. So we were founded in Clarkston, Georgia, which is about 20 minutes from downtown Atlanta. And we were founded by Kitty Murray and some other neighbors within the community. And since then, we have added catering services and opened other locations throughout Atlanta. So we're just about to open another location in Norcross, but we already have a location next to the High Museum in downtown Atlanta, as well as on Auburn Avenue. And we're just really excited to be here. Now, Clarkston is the center. That is where we are right now. We are sitting in the office at our Clarkston location. So if you see people walk in, it's because they need to get supplies that are located behind us. But Clarkston is considered one of the most diverse square miles in America. We have been resettling refugees in this area since the 90s, and it is so cool to be able to walk down the street and see people from literally all over the world in this one square mile. Yeah, so we can go to the next slide. So what are some of our core values? So one of our core values is welcome, which we already talked about a little bit. But we are very big on welcome, and it's not just no discrimination, but it's making sure that people, when they step into our coffee shop, they feel seen, they feel known, and they feel welcomed. They feel like they are wanted in our location. Another one is celebrate. We want to celebrate the wins. We want to celebrate the journey that our employees have taken to come here. We want to celebrate the community we have here. Because of the diversity in our community, we see a lot of there's a lot of reasons to celebrate. We have all the holidays from all over the world that we can celebrate, but we also have just sweet moments like the birth of a child, or the graduation from high school, or the first college attendee from their family, and we get to celebrate those moments together, which is really exciting. And lastly, diversity and inclusion. Later on, there are some statistics about our diversity, but one of the things that I'll just mention that I'm really excited about is that 80% of our support staff are women. This is a female-led nonprofit, and it is really cool to be a part of that. We have 2 support staff who are not women, and one of those is Leon here. And so it's so cool to just be a part of such a community that empowers people. Later on, we'll talk about the diversity within our job training and then within our staff, but we really hold diversity as a huge, huge value for us. And then our brand promise. So we promise to leave our mark on everyone who experiences Refuge Coffee by making you feel welcome. We will be friendly, reliable, and consistent. You will not only experience quality and cleanliness, but we will uphold food service to the highest safety standards. Your experience with Refuge will always be agendaless, multicultural, and simplistic. We are a nonprofit, but we hold ourselves to the highest standard we can. Sometimes in the nonprofit world, things can be a little not as black and white, and so we want to continue to uphold the standards that everyone sees and give people the service, the quality, the highest standards we can. Yeah, so we can go to the next slide. So our job training program, this is the heart of who we are. So on each of our coffee cups, so I doubt you guys can see this, but it says, as you enjoy this drink, you are providing a living wage, quality job training, and mentorship for a resettled refugee who lives right here in Atlanta's backyard. We offer newly arrived immigrants and refugees a chance to pause, breathe, and dream about their lives in America. What's been really cool about this job training program is seeing people go from a barista to we have a former employee who now runs a their own coffee truck business, which is great, but that's also like, oh, they're now our competition, you know? Isn't that so cool to just see like someone go from being an employee to running their own business? We have another former employee who owns his own restaurant. We have another one who, through catering jobs, has gotten to work at Delta now, which was his dream job. And so it's been really cool to see these refugees have a chance to say, okay, I know what I want to do, and you have given me the skills to achieve it, and here it is. Here's what I've achieved. And we get to celebrate that with them. As sad as it is, losing some of our favorite employees, we get to celebrate the fact that they get to live their dream. So our job training program is a 12 to 18 month program. When we were figuring out how long we wanted this program to be, we decided that we really wanted to go deep and not just have people go through real quickly in like a 6-month program. We wanted to make sure that the relationship was there, the foundation was there to help them go forth in their future. So we have unique workforce readiness classes. We have mentors who provide assistance with English, college, trade school preparation, or future career planning. So we have Georgia State University has a campus right up the street. We have a lot of our employees who have gone there, and we've been able to help them through that as well. And it's just really exciting to see people gain the skills to be successful here in America. So a few stats about our job training program. So we've had 50 plus baristas from 17 different countries in our job training program since 2015. 70% of our full-time staff are resettled refugees or immigrants. So this is either our barista trainees or support staff. And we've had over $1 million dedicated to training since 2015. And so it's been really cool to see how our job training program has gone from Leon to we have 6 trainees right now, and we get to dive deep and build relationships with each and every one of them and just really help them flourish in the way they are able to. Yeah. Do you want to say anything about the job training program, or you want to wait till later? Okay. So why are we doing this? We can go back to our why. Yeah, sorry about that. So there are a couple of gaps that we've seen in our community. Hello. Told you some people might be wandering in. So
we want them to get their supplies. We don't want to interrupt anything there at the coffee company.
Yeah. So one of our whys is because we've seen a gap in opportunities. The majority of the refugees in this community work at the chicken factories. So Georgia is one of the largest producers of poultry in America. And the majority of that workforce is refugees and immigrants. But those are not great jobs. And if you have everyone going for those same jobs, then, you know, not everybody's going to get that job. So we have a huge jobless rate in Clarkston as well. And this can lead to homelessness. It can lead to hopelessness. It can just lead to just a lot of unfortunate things. And so that is one of our whys, is that we see there's an opportunity gap. Another gap we see is a hospitality gap. 85% of immigrants to our country have never been inside an American home. This can lead to loneliness. You know, I have a friend who who's been in the country, who came from East Africa and has been in the States for over 5 years. And the other day he came over to the house and was so excited because he had discovered microwave popcorn. And so there are moments like that that you get to be like, yeah, microwave popcorn is amazing. And if if an immigrant or refugee is never invited into a home, you miss those moments. But you also get the chance to share in these first experiences with people. And then we also have an awareness gap. Most of Atlanta does not know that up to 2,000 refugees have been resettled here every year for the past 3 decades. This can lead to alienation between Americans and refugees. This can lead to a lot of confusion. We are 20 minutes from downtown Atlanta, and when I tell people that, you know, I work with refugees, they're like near Atlanta, people are like, oh, there are refugees in Atlanta. And so being able to bring awareness to that has been really cool. So this is how we're closing some of those gaps. We provide competitive wage jobs. Employees in our job training program, they get paid competitive wages. We have a holistic job training program. This includes coaching and mentoring, which helps to give refugees hope for a better future. We have a multi-ethnic gathering place where refugees mingle with local people, which can foster relationships. Some of my really great friends I made by coming to Refuge before I was an employee here. And so now it's so cool to see people connecting with other people that I, like, just from my own personal experience, I never would have had the chance to connect with them if I didn't have Refuge. And then lastly, our trainees, our coffee shop, and our truck help us tell a more beautiful refugee story, opening people's eyes to the vibrancy and resilience of refugees. Being able to do things like this, share with you guys a little bit about our story and who we are. You guys are helping us to create more awareness. You're helping us to close that gap. Our different locations allow us the opportunity to share about who Refuge is and the beautiful community we have here. Yeah, we can go to the next slide, and I'm going to turn it over to Leon to share a little bit about his story, who he is, where he's from, and what working at Refuge has been for him, and anything else he wants to say. So go for it.
Hello, everyone. How are you again?
Thank you for joining us, Leon.
Yes. Hello. How are you doing, guys?
They're all muted.
Okay, so they can hear me.
So they can hear you, but that you can't hear them.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us. Yes, as my predecessor said, my name is Leon Schombana. I'm originally from Congo, DRC. So I'm the first trainee of Refuge Coffee. As I said earlier, that I was the first one to be hired as a full-time trainee of Refuge Coffee. But before that, let me say this. See all what is happening with Refuge Coffee today. Some time back, I see like Kiri Mary, who is a founder. Sometime I think I can say she is like someone who has been sent by the God's voice, like a Messiah, to live where she was, because for sure he was living near Backhead. Backhead is a place where people of good situation lives, people who have some good money, but she decided to leave that place and come here in Clarkston. So as she was saying, Clarkston is a place for refugees and immigrants for more than 3 decades. So you understand that half of the population of Clarkston, they are not American born. So we don't have a good situation in terms of money, but I can say we are good in terms of culture. So why I say that? I say that because so with Refuge Coffee, people who is not from here in Clarkston, she or he can be able to experience or to live the situation, to know the different cultures we find in Clarkston through Refuge Coffee. As we were working here at Refuge Coffee, sometime I look at myself, I said we are like a big family of one father with different wives. So this father, he was a father, as we know, the man, I'm talking about the man, he can travel, the place he go, he find a lady, and then he become a wife, and then he brings a child, and all this child from different corner, from one father who was a traveler man, they're under Refuge Coffee. So as we are, that child will come from there, which another culture, another child come from another corner, which a different culture, and we meet under Refugee Coffee. So we become like a big family, but we all recognize that we have one father, and of course, the God, and different cultures in the corner where we come from, and we try to learn and understand each and every culture from where we come from. That is Refuge Coffee. So when we started, that time I was the first one, and I couldn't know really how long this is gonna take, and I couldn't know really how this is gonna work. I can tell you that before to come to Refuge Coffee, I was working in the chicken plant, as she mentioned earlier. So to chicken plant, I was working 6 days a week. So, and then when I started with Refuge Coffee, it was only twice a week. And I was asking myself sometime when I sleep, I might become a lazy man. So how I was working 7 days, now I'm working 2 days a week. So maybe they're gonna start calling me a lazy man. So something was going on in my mind. So, and then by having that trust in me, in what we are doing, so we persevere. We persevere, and then we used to have, that time we was not having so many people, but anytime I can meet with Kiri, and the person who had that time was like Chief Operator, Mr. Caleb Goodroom, and of course, Mr. Bill too. As I'm talking about Refugee Coffee stories, I cannot leave behind Mr. Bill, because every morning I have to be with him. He'll come and help me to set up the tent, to put the chair outside, because it was on the roadside, and then it was noisy. It's not, today is quiet. It was noisy that time.
They're all part of the family you were talking about, right?
Yes.
All
so
of these people,
then,
yeah.
it was noisy, and then we sit on the roadside. When the train pass, oh, you cannot hear, nobody can hear each other, because there's just on the roadside, and the train pass, and then we cannot even, it wasn't easy. So today we are working in this room, and then I say, that's why I told you earlier that is 7 years, is not a lot of years, but it's a long story. If you can go through it, it's a long story we travel in. So we survive from 2 days to 6 days through the week. So while, because of we trust in what we are doing, and today we are going to open a number 4 location, right? We have a Middletown, we have a Sweet Auburn, and here we are in Clarkston, the place I used to call, usually I call it mother location in Clarkston. That we are in mother location in Clarkston. So I'm trying to say that we are going slowly, but surely. Yes, I think 2019 wasn't good, because the way it was coming with COVID-19, it was trying to make us collapsing. But by God's will, we survived. We survived COVID-19. We survived, but it gave us hard time for surviving, because nobody could be next to another one in that time. someone was seeing another person like this person can cause my death. So that time is like I used to call it, the time was the world was like dark, but now the world start opening. But we praise God for that. We survived the situation. Coming to the job training, our job training, it helped us a lot, because this job training, it helped us because where we come from is not like here. We learn everything here, guys. We learn so many things here because our culture and your culture here, most of the time they're upside down, because the way that we do the thing where we come from and here, they're not the same. So, and that is one of the mission of Kirimeri, to help refugees and immigrants to try to understand how life goes on here in this country. Because majority of us, refugees and or immigrant, when we arrive here, we lose the first, the second, the third job because of non-respecting of the time. So we never get a chance to be educated about how here the time is very consciously, how life goes on here. We don't get the chance to get all this ethic value of job and culture, and to learn different cultures. But with Refuge Coffee, I can say I was glad to learn this thing. So it helped me to understand how life goes on here. I can tell you something. I used to, when I came here, or when I started working, and then I saw everything is very fast here, it gave me the way to remember the sentence I learned in Africa when I was in high school. There was it was not a white guy, he was a one African guy he studied in Europe. And then when he came to us, he said, he wrote a sentence, one sentence in his two languages. He said, time is money. And then I didn't know the meaning of time is money that time. And he wrote down in French, le temps c'est de l'argent. So I couldn't understand that time what he wanted to explain until I came here in this country, where I found that everyone is walking fast. Oh, that sentence came in my mind from long time ago. I said, oh, that's why the guy he came, he said, time is money. And then he will tell us, so when you go in Europe, you'll find every time people checking the watch, what time is it? So the thing we learn here, everything is upside down, and the Refugee Coffee is trying to help us to adjust. But it's not easy, guys. We come here, we are not babies. We come here already matured. To change from that habit to a new habit is not easy. That is a hard situation refugees and immigrants they are facing, and Refugee Coffee is trying to help us to try to adjust. I can say in another way, Refugee Coffee is trying to integrate us in the society or in the community. Otherwise, without that, you'll be left behind. So because you don't adjust. So that is the issue. You said you are in Virginia, maybe you don't have more refugees, but here, if you work with the refugees, you'll find that you want to give her a ride. You want to give her a ride or him a ride to go to clinic appointment, hospital appointment. You'll tell him, hey, Leon, come, I'll be here to your door by 9. You know that your appointment is 9:45. I'll say yes. So when you come to my door tomorrow by 9, my child, one of my children told, oh, dad is still taking bath, and you're still wondering what happened. So that is us. So that is us, and that's why I'm saying that many of us lost the first, second, third job because not respecting the time, and sometimes we didn't know. And when I go back, my wife will ask me why they fired you from work. So, oh, you know, that manager doesn't like me. I don't know why. You know, all of this we learn them. I can say I was glad to do Refugee Coffee to learn this. Now I understand, and that is the job of Stacy. Stephanie. she's trying to be in our community to explain, to learn different cultures and bring these people to in the American society. That is the way to welcome someone, to show him, to show her how things goes on here, because they said in Rome like Roman. You see, yeah, when you are in Rome, try to behave like a Roman. Don't go, everyone is wearing jacket, you are going there, you are wearing like someone from Mali. They say, oh, who come from this guy? He's not from here. You must try to be like a Roman too, so that you learn how things goes on here. And I can say with Refuge Coffee, I learn a lot. I learn a lot. And now I can go everywhere in American society without having someone who can be behind me to try to translate me, try to show me, because I was being welcomed by Refuge Coffee. And we are still welcome other trainees to show them the way. So I can say, I can talk until tomorrow. I know that. So I can say, I can tell you that we are still crossing our fingers that we can have more fun, so that we can have to bring these refugees and the immigrants who are just arriving, to try to welcome them, to show them the way. Thank you. If you have a question, I'm ready to answer the question. Yes.
Thank you, Leon. And yeah, actually, we'll probably, if you don't mind, Leon, we'll have some time and folks can ask you some questions at the end too. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing, Leon. Yeah, man, did so much though. So good. I'm just like, oh, that was good. Yeah, but I think I think just the idea of us doing welcome is what we are passionate about. The idea of connect with cultures and communities is what we want to see happen. We can go to the next slide, because we want to invite you guys to help us create Refuge. So we have several different ways you can do this. If you're in the Atlanta area, we cater, or you can come visit one of our shops. We have really good coffee, and I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. We have really good coffee. You can follow us on social media. You can give to Refuge. Because we are a nonprofit, we do raise funds. We buy our merch. Actually, our merch shop is closed. Our online merch shop is closed right now, but you can come to one of our locations to buy our merch. But I'm going to do another shameless plug on the next slide. And that is our 5K race. So if you live near Atlanta, or live near Clarkston, or anywhere in the anywhere in Georgia, or on the East Coast, if you are interested in being a part of our community, we have a race coming up. It is September 24th. You can find out more information on our website, but it is a 5K and then a free mile fun run for kids. And it is a really cool time to see our community at work and our community together. The 5K goes through Clarkston, and so people get to experience a little bit about Clarkston, and it is just such a cool chance to see our community all come together. And if you're in the area, we also have several other events coming up in the fall, so stay tuned for those if you follow us on social media. And I think that is it. So I am ready for questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So we're now going to begin answering some questions, and I might comment, you said anyone in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Also, if somebody's just planning a trip somewhere, you know, they could travel across the country to join you guys for the race. But we're now going to begin answering any questions that folks have. As a reminder to our attendees, you can submit questions through the questions pane in your attendee control panel. So yeah, go ahead and submit any questions, and we'll go ahead and answer those. I also am curious, Steph and Leon, what are your favorite coffee drinks?
Thank you so much. Let me start by my answer, which will be like a little bit longer than the question. So I do like coffee. I like the way it smells. I like it in every situation. I like coffee. However, when we started the coffee a month ago, we had a wedding. So we have our truck go there to cover that wedding. So it was a wedding. It was later. We worked the whole day. It was in Norway. It was Norway. We got like 1 hour. We went to Norway. So we had a signature drink. We call it shaken yeken. So that shaken yeken, it was coffee and honey inside. So it's sweet. So I saw small children, 5, 6 years, taking shaken yeken. Even me, I take the shaken yeken. So we come back. We arrive here by like 9 p.m. So I go home like 10. I was tired. I need to sleep, but I couldn't sleep because the shaken yeken was shaking me. So the shaken yeken was shaking me until I couldn't sleep. So until I realized in the morning, oh, I take the coffee afternoon. So from that day, I decided I decided to stick on the cup of tea, because tea have a caffeine, but is less than the caffeine we find in the cup of coffee. That is my answer. Was a little bit longer to answer you. So I'm a tea drinker now. Thank you.
Yeah, the coffee is good, but sleep is also good. So maybe some tea.
Yeah,
What about you, Steph?
Anything with caramel in it, basically. Caramel and coffee is the best combination. So caramel latte, caramel macchiato, any of those.
She's a caramel lady.
I am.
Very good. Let's see. So one question. Oh, sorry.
It's like,
I don't want to cut you off on you.
So I can drink multiple coffees during the day still.
There you go. Let's see. So one question. Let's see. What advice would you have for like a refugee or community member that wants to start a business?
What advice would you have for someone who wants to start a business as a refugee or community member?
So for me, the advice I can give to someone who is a refugee or immigrant, someone who stays here in in Clarkston, start a business, the first thing is to trust in what you want to do. He must be someone who knows what he must focus on, what he want to do. He must be, and then if he want to hire someone to work with, he must look for someone reliable. First, he must trust in what you want to do. And then if you want someone to help or someone to be like a partner, look someone who is a reliable person, someone who have that courage. He must be trustworthy person, so you can do the way together. You can start that journey together. So you must look someone who have that courage, reliable, trustworthy person, and then you say, okay, let go, and then we go together. You come, and always, because you know in the beginning of the business there's what we call up and down. There is sometimes goes up, sometimes thing goes down. So you must prepare yourself in that situation, but you must persevere. You must persevere and be optimistic. They said in English. Optimistic that this situation is gonna pass, and then we'll go forward. will go forward. That is the advice I can tell someone who wants to start a business. Thank you.
I appreciate
I would
that.
I would say also making sure that you have a community around you that will support you.
Yeah.
Refuge has only succeeded because of the way the community has come around and supported us. We get to go to new locations because the community wants to engage with us in that community. And so having a strong community of people who are like, I'm going to come and help you with this, even if it's like people who are going to be like, you know, I can't work for you, but I'll volunteer with this role for you and things like that, is very helpful.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I guess one last question. What do you think Refuge has contributed to the community? Or how is the community different because Refuge Coffee Company is there, other than good coffee?
Mm-hmm.
So Refuge Coffee have done a lot in our community because we educate, we train the people in our community. We bring them. Let me say we trying to we bring them in our community. We welcome them. We try to integrate them in the American society. We don't want them to be left behind. So why I'm saying that, because I know most of our trainees, before they came to Refuge Coffee, they couldn't speak English. They couldn't. So after 1 year of job training, now they are fluently speaking English. Now they can be able now to fly by their own wings. They can be able now to go back to do the things they need to do from their dreams, but they were the language barrier. So which means we give them job training and the language, and we have AC2 so that someone who want to continue his study, he can do that. So we did all these things. We are trying to integrate these people. So I think we have done a lot to bring these people, not to see that was being left behind, but we try to bring those people to their dreams. You know, when you come somewhere, we have learned in different languages, but if you are here, you cannot speak English. Sometimes you find yourself that someone who never been to school. So Refuge Coffee, with our training, we bring these people to speak English, to learn, and to get some AC classes and go back to university. So I can say we are trying to bring this community together and integrate them. I can see like we are like in the center. We are like in the center of Refuge Coffee of Clarkston. So we are trying to bring all these different cultures and the values together and try to bring them in the same level as other people in different communities. Yes.
Yeah, no, and I think let's see, we're getting to the end of our time here together, but I do want to thank you. I think you're right. You're bringing folks together, and I might add, even in this this lunch and learn. I appreciate you all bringing us all together today to learn about Refuge and to learn about Clarkston. Let's see. So I want to thank you guys both, Steph and Leon, our presenters. I also want to thank everyone who attended today's lunch and learn. Just to let you know, you will receive a follow-up email with a link to view a recording of today's webinar. That email will also include a link to a feedback survey. We value your feedback and welcome suggested topics for future lunch and learns. And on behalf of Refugee Welcome Collective, thank you all for joining us and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leon and Steph.
Thank you.